The Florida Gators have hired Vinnie Sunseri to be co-defensive coordinator / safeties coach. I'm skeptical. I'm not going to lie.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Saturday. I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. And we'll take this back to Thursday. Vinnie Sunseri arrives in Gainesville. Friday, Vinnie Sunseri interviews with the Florida Gators coaching staff. As On3 reported it was not for a coordinator position. But I do think that they meant more so is in the fact that he's not going to be a defensive play caller. He's just, like, if he gets co-DC, he's supposed to get a pay bump, I guess, or it's title only. Then today, this morning, Vinnie Sunseri gets hired as the co-defensive coordinator and the safeties coach of the Florida Gators. And I'm going to say this because everybody that I've seen criticizing it on social media, the response has been, well, we didn't like Gerald Chapman and Will Harris hire. To be clear, I like the Gerald Chapman hire. And I was cautiously optimistic about the Will Harris hire. Here, and I see people saying, how am I supposed to feel about this? We have people with the subtext program saying, how am I supposed to feel about this? I don't know, man. Honestly, I can't tell you how to feel about this one. I'm not going to say I'm furious because, I think the biggest argument for why someone would be unhappy with it is strictly experience, right? Vinnie Sunseri throughout his career, he was in 2019, he was GA with Alabama, which, by the way, he played for Alabama, got drafted by the Saints, played with the Saints, Patriots, and 49ers. And so in 2019, he was an Alabama GA. In 2020, he was a defensive coaching assistant with the New England Patriots. From 2021 to 2023, he was a running backs coach with the Patriots. 2024, he was a Washington Huskies safety coach. And a few weeks ago was hired to be the defensive coordinator at Jacksonville State, which, of course, Florida now essentially just took him. And so I think that your best reason to say that you don't like it is strictly the experience aspect, which to me, I don't think that's a great reason to dunk on a hire, right? I don't. I just don't think the lack of experience is a great reason to dunk on a hire. I get it. Florida should be hiring big name players. The way he ran the defense at Jack State wasn't great. You know nothing about how he ran the defense at Jack State. He got hired to do that 2 weeks ago. He never ran a defense at Jack State. Was not him. Want to get that one there because I've seen people say that on Twitter as well. You know nothing about how he runs a defense. You know nothing about how he's going to do anything with the defense because he's got 1 year as a safeties coach. Everything else is running the back coach or off-field assistant. That's it. Like, we know nothing about what Vinnie Sunseri is going to be. That's why I can't just dunk on it. Ray Graves, I'll get to that in a second. But that's why I can't just dunk on it, right? Because it's just strictly we don't know. Do I hate the process of hiring a relatively complete unknown person to be a co-DC at the University of Florida and safeties coach? Yeah, I don't like that process at all. I think that's a flawed process. I think especially with where you're at as far as competing, you could take a bigger swing, right? But we're past that point, right? Now you got Vinnie Sunseri as a co-DC. For Ray Graves, Goat said, who saw our defense and decided we need another coach in the DB room? Florida did. That was a thing that apparently they wanted to get another person to help Will Harris handle DBs because there's a lot of DBs. So now you've got Will Harris and Vinnie Sunseri as on-field coaches, and I think Coach Bay Razul is staying with the program for at least 2025. So you'd have Coach Razul there as well. I realize I'm trusting Billy more with these hires. I'm assuming you meant after Chapman and Harris. Sure. But again, like for me personally, I like the Chapman hire. You can go back to the live shows. I liked it. I spoke to people at Tulane. They were very optimistic. They loved him. Positive reviews from him or about him. I read through quotes from Ed Orgeron, Carlos Dunlap, I think was one of the players. And we spoke through a bunch of testimonials, we'll say, about Gerald Chapman. So love the Gerald Chapman hire. Will Harris was always just cautiously optimistic. Both of those guys, though, had better resumes than what Vinnie Sunseri brings to the table. And I don't know what the plan is with Vinnie Sunseri. Like, I know people want those answers, but just don't think it can. I just don't think you can give those answers definitively through a hire for a guy that's had 1 year of on-field defensive coaching. I absolutely think you could say that you hate the process or that you hate hiring someone with that resume. But as far as just hating the hire to hate it, can't really say that I do. I will say that one reason I don't like it is because I don't think Vinnie Sunseri is a needle mover. And that was a big thing that we talked about a lot, that we want needle movers, but take what I can get, right? If this helps Will Harris with coaching the defensive backs, and it helps Will Harris coaching defensive backs. Someone mentioned Austin Armstrong before in the chat. We'll get to that in a second. Does co-DC equal Austin Armstrong role? Yes and no. I do think that Vinnie Sunseri's co-DC is more so just pay and title, whereas Austin Armstrong, I believe, had more of an input into everything. And I don't think that I don't think that Vinnie Sunseri will have that much input there. Jackson State did give up 0 points under him. His entire tenure at Jacksonville State, 0 points allowed. So there's that. But yeah, with Vinnie Sunseri, look, I just can't bash everything about it, right? I'm not saying I like it at all. That ain't what I'm saying. But I am saying that I just can't like it. People who complain about how Sunseri ran the Jacksonville State defense are why Gators fans are called toxic idiots. Or are called toxic idiots. Yeah. Because again, he's never called a defense. He's never done that. And then again, this is very clearly co-DC in title and salary, and not that he's going to be second in command of the defense. Why he got the title and the salary, I got no freaking clue. Maybe he just didn't want to take a title demotion from being DC at Jacksonville State, which again, I know he never coached it, but it's still going to be part of his story now that, hey, I took a Jacksonville State DC job and then I left it a few weeks later for a Florida job. You can't say, hey, I took a Jacksonville State DC job and left it a few weeks later for a safeties coach job. That's a clear demotion. At least you say, hey, I took a co-DC job and safeties coach job with Florida. At least you can say, hey, it was a lateral move in terms of position. And so I would think it has more to do with that than anything else about the actual role that he'll be playing. But I mean, hey, I tweeted this. Billy's either going to look like a genius or a jackass when this is all said and done. Like it's as simple as that. And no, I don't like people comparing this to Gerald Chapman. I don't like people comparing this to Will Harris, because both of those guys had better resumes than what Vinnie Sunseri has. And again, I'm not bashing him. I'm not knocking him a ton. I'm just saying that the truth is both of those guys have better resumes than Vinnie Sunseri does. They've been coaches longer than Vinnie Sunseri's been. They've been proven more than Vinnie Sunseri's been. Again, it's not bashing it, but I don't like comparing both of these. I don't like comparing both of those to Vinnie Sunseri. It just doesn't make sense. Like to say, oh yeah, well, we doubted Will Harris, we doubted Gerald Chapman. First off, kind of, not really though. But also, it's not the same situation. It's not It's not apples to apples that you're comparing here. We will get to the chat. I see you guys in there. We'll get to the chat in a minute when we get back with Locked On Gators. Attending NFL playoff games is an experience like no other. The energy, excitement, and the connection with other fans, unmatched. I will maybe never get to experience that again for the rest of my life as a New York Giants fan. Who knows when they're ever going to be back, right? It's a damn shame. But if you're looking to see your team play, or if you're looking for concert tickets, basketball tickets, whatever it may be, go to GameTime. GameTime Picks is an awesome feature that helps you find tickets and cuts out the fluff, shows you the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, being there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account with code Locked On College for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And like I said, we're going to talk about the chat that we got going on here with people. My cousin Vinny's going to be legit great movie. I'm going to be honest with you. It's just a fantastic movie there. But comparing it to Gerald Chapman, Will Harris, not a great thing to do, right? Gerald Chapman has been a coach since 2015 is when he started coaching. So when Gerald Chapman started coaching, Vinnie Sunseri was in the NFL. Will Harris started coaching in 2013 when Vinnie Sunseri was still in college. There's a big difference between these guys, okay? Again, I'm not going to bash it relentlessly, but I am going to say that definitely question marks deserved, right? At least in my opinion. Like, I think if you question it, you're fine. I don't like bashing it unless you just say, hey, I don't like hiring these young coaches. But again, I don't like saying just experience is a good enough reason to bash something. Because it's just that you could hire a young wonderkind over there, but you're going to say, yeah, not enough experience. It's that stuff annoys me a little bit. I think that you could say that he hasn't proven anything because he hasn't. Running back coach for 3 years. We'll say GA, defensive coaching assistant, running back coach for 3 years, safeties coach, 3-week defensive coordinator at Jacksonville State. Here. He hasn't proven anything. We have no idea what he's going to recruit like. We have no idea anything about this. It's just a complete shot in the dark. And that's the part that bothers me more than anything else is not the lack of experience. It's that he's got 5 years of coaching experience. One being in college, really. And we have no idea what he can recruit like. So it's definitely interesting there. But again, outside of that, like I do think that he was brought in to be a safeties coach because they wanted help for Will Harris in the safety room. It's a big room. The DBs, corner, safety, and the star spot. It's a really big room. So it makes sense to want to add another on-field coach there. We'll see what happens with any other staff changes right now because the only coach he lost this offseason officially is Austin Armstrong. And you've brought in one coach officially. So we'll see if anything else changes with the coaching staff. Hopefully it will. But we got not an exciting hire, but if they happen to handle business on the field, we'll never talk about this. But if, like I said, genius or jackass, those are your two options. What's up, Harrison? Go Gators. I'm happy with this strong emphasis on co-defensive coordinator. Again, for me, the co-DC stuff is strictly in title. That's it. I am very interested why they felt he deserved the title and the pay, because don't forget, we could say, like, oh, yeah, it's just title, but like, he's still getting paid more than other coaches then. A co-DC's got to get paid more than the other position coaches, right? So he'd still be getting paid more than them. And you have to justify spending assets in that way. Don't like the co-DC title at all. Someone tell me how I'm supposed to feel about this. People who are salty, it's a DC, not an OC, need to realize that we just need a play caller, consultant, someone who can take over past scripted plays. I'm sorry, I don't really follow there. It's not bad. I'll take younger anytime. Hey, everyone, what's up, Q? How you doing? If defense handles business, we will not talk about this all season. I think we need the young guy with some energy, so I like the hire. I will say this. I have heard he's a very boring person, so I don't know if just because he's young, you're getting the energy. I have heard he's a very boring guy. So I don't know. Gravy Biscuit said, I'm late to the stream. Did they get rid of Ron Roberts or plan to? They didn't. Hopefully they will, but they didn't yet. What a slap in the face to Harrison Chapman. I disagree. I understand like that they're less proven. I think that people are looking way too much into it being a slap in the face or it being anything like that. Like I do think that, again, I think that I would prioritize them over him. I think that they'd be more valuable than him, but I don't think it's as disrespectful as people are trying to make it seem. Uber. Oh, that's the when I saw that one, Boucher, when I mentioned Jacksonville State stuff. So Vinny is DC in waiting. No idea, really. We kind of thought Austin Armstrong would do that, right? Q said, I don't know about this one. It's a 50-50 game. Q Lee said this. 50-50 gamble. I realize I'm trusting. Yeah, we saw that one already. Because Billy likes to have 2 O-line coaches and 2 defensive coordinators. FNOC, SMH. Stubborn, baffling Billy. Fair. Don't think Billy is making this hire before hearing the players out also. He just strikes me as that type of guy. I don't think that's true. Just because what are the players going to say? Like when it says don't think Billy is making this hire before hearing the players out also. What are they going to say? They don't know a damn thing about Vinnie Sunseri. He's been coaching we don't know a damn thing about Vinnie Sunseri. He's been coaching for 5 years. 3 of them were as a running back coach. We don't know anything about him. That's why I can't give you an opinion on him. I can just tell you what he's done, where he's been. That's it. I can't even fully go, yeah, Washington safeties were this year. Because he was only there 1 year. He didn't develop them. He didn't recruit them. That wasn't him. I just can't. Vicky Lance said, I believe in Napier. I think the players are like this. Bring a young coach more their age that they can relate to more. I don't think that matters that much. I think that if I'm not, I don't know. And like I played with young coaches. I played with older coaches. The age thing didn't matter to me. Like, you're a coach. I don't need to be your buddy. You're a coach. You're supposed to show up, tell me what the hell to do. And if I'm not doing it right, coach me how to do it. I don't care so much about, oh, is he closer to my age? Is he older than me? Is he my dad's age? I don't care. If you can make me better, make me better. That should be the goal. Harris to DC would be cool. I mean, if it does happen, it ain't happening right now. Would love it if they do end up deciding anything about Roberts, but yeah, we'll see. He's also called plays before, so there's that. Scratching my head on this one. I want the stupid ass too many peeps on the field penalties to stop in year 4 FFS. If you know, then you know. What about special teams coordinator? I'm assuming going to be Joe Houston again, and he is one of the best around. So I'm cool with that one. Completely inexcusable. We are still having issues with this. Year 3 still happened. This one's a gamble. Q Lee, I don't think you've been right 95% of the time, but it's nice to feel that way. And even if you aren't right 95% of the time, act like it. That's how I do it. So no OC and a Vinny. LOL. Okay, what's up, Harrison again? I'll give Billy credit. He's sticking to his guns on play calling. Live and die on that hill. Time will tell. Stubbornness kills UF program for decades. A lot of my cousin Vinny comments there. I'm not comparing hires. It just seems like Billy is diligently looking for a young, intelligent coach that may not have been fully proven, but have been around great coaches. Yeah, and that's fair, but we'll see if that works. Like, I feel like Billy does everything with simply, we're going to trust development, right? Like with recruits, they go get freak athletes that need a lot of physical development or need a lot of like technical development. Bringing in young coaches that need more development. And he's just saying, hey, we're going to hit these hires. We're going to hit these signings and we're going to be great. And that's great if it works out. But if it doesn't, you look like a psycho. And that's what I think would be a bigger concern there. Stubbornness, ego, and pride has killed Gators football for decades, which is sad. Not a lot of on-field coaching experience, but he does come from a coaching field. Yeah, Sal Sunseri was the Florida Gators defensive line coach in 2018. Sal Sunseri has very long coaching career. He will, like Vinnie Sunseri, will be able to lean on Sal for any advice. He'll be able to lean on multiple people for any advice. He's got, he was with the Patriots when they still had Bill Belichick. He was with Steve Belichick, Bill Belichick's son, last year at Washington. who now Steve is at North Carolina. But just because you can go and get that advice doesn't mean that you could execute properly. Which is why I will say I don't think that as many people just saying, hey, he can lean on these guys. I don't think that means as much as I think people are putting into it, at least in my opinion. What's up, Brandon? What's up? How you doing? We just needed Muschamp back as D coordinator. Will is not boring. LMAO helps having a personality. I'm going to go out on a limb and say just by experience, this will crash and burn. Billy looking for diamonds in the rough. I think Billy needs to hire you, Brandon. I think, you know what? I'm 29, so in about 2 years, I think I'll be qualified to be a co-DC at Florida. So at least there's that. I'm there. I'm almost there, Josh. Don't worry. Also appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. How's Spain? Love you. But yeah, look, I would rather bash the process than bash straight up hiring Vinnie Sunseri. Because I can't give you an opinion on Vinnie Sunseri. We don't know anything about him. Not a fun period on social media. Be a fan of the Florida Gators and Dallas Cowboys. Both brands relying on clout from years ago with starboard management. Need to trust that Napier has some magic. I'll tell you what. I hope your Cowboys suck. Okay, I will say that. I'm a Giants fan. My team's gonna suck for the rest of my life. So I hope your team sucks as well. But yeah, I have an easier time faulting the process of hiring young, inexperienced coaches to jobs that you could argue they don't deserve at the time. But I just can't bash specifically Vinnie Sunseri. Success breeds success, showed on the field this year. It's the year to do it, or next year is the year to start over, pretty much. But yeah, we'll see what Vinnie Sunseri ends up becoming. But for now, it's just a big question. I have no idea how to feel about it. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I like to be honest with everybody and just give my opinion on things. He looks underqualified. Like his resume looks underqualified. But I can't say that I've heard bad things about him. Like we've spoken about coaches with Will Harrison and Gerald Chapman, who you guys like to bring up all the time. Resume looks more qualified, right? They're still young, but resume looked better. Like I think that this is the first true like head scratching position coach hire, co-DC, whatever, since the Austin Armstrong. I didn't really have any questions about Jonathan DeCoster, Gerald Chapman, Will Harris. This one I do. I'm not going to lie. I'm very skeptical to see how this one works out. I'm not going to bash it. I don't like to bash things because I don't have a negative opinion of him either. I just don't know anything about him really. But I will say that if Ron Roberts holds off retirement until he mentors my cousin Vinny, then maybe this is a good thing. Maybe. Hope not. I hope he doesn't get to choose when he's leaving. No way you are 11 years younger than LeBron. I don't even know what that means, man. Like, I don't even know how to respond to that. But yeah, I guess I'm 11 years younger than LeBron. Never thought of it that way. Crazy. Why do we give him the co-DC role? Harrison, I think that the reason he got co-DC role was because strictly optics and title matching up. He left Washington to be a DC at Jacksonville State. You can't leave 3 weeks later to go be a position coach. You take a DC job, you got to leave for another DC job. And so I think that was part of it. Who's Billy looking to hire as DC? Spoke to a few people about some names that he at least interviewed. We'll see if he's still going to pursue that, but the insiders will get that message probably today or tomorrow about any names that I've heard. If you want to become an insider, the link's in the description below to join subtext.com/LockedOnGators. We will be back. You know, it wasn't exactly a lateral move, but title looks close enough to a lateral move for all that matters on his resume that it's going to still look like optics. It's going to look like he left for a lateral move to an SEC program. Lateral title move to an SEC program. So it looks like he got kind of a promotion, right? Yeah. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back Monday. Don't forget that I will be in Mobile, Alabama, covering the Senior Bowl all week. So we will be there. And we will still plan on doing every show, every day, same time as always, But thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast. And I'll see you all next time.